Okay, I have to do a third take because something happened to the audio file. What the fuck, dude? I never had that happen before. So this is Dungeon Dwellers Podcast. I'm your host, Justin. We're on our 18th review for Halloween month. Today we're reviewing Batman Death in the Family. This is a $30 graphic novel. Comes with the 4-issue miniseries Death in the Family, written by Jim Startin and drawn by Jim Aparo. And the second story is a 5-parter, which introduces the new Robin, Tim Drake, and has cameos with the Teen Titans, which are called the New Titans in this book because they're adults. That's a 5-parter called A Lonely Place of Dying. So the story for this book is basically in the 80s, people really didn't like Jason Todd Robin, who was the second Robin. For whatever reason, readers hated him, so DC Comics came with this 4-parter series called Death of the Family, where it would put Robin and Jason Todd in this life or death scenario, and readers, right before the final issue, could decide whether or not they would want Jason Todd to live or die, and guess what? They chose him to die, which didn't matter because they brought him back like 2 decades later. There's like a comic book written by Judd Winick that made him the new Red Hood, where basically Jason Todd came back to life and was like, I'm gonna go Punisher on these motherfuckers. And there was a movie called Under the Red Hood, which they basically with the new animated movie that's also based off this book called Death in the Family. They basically just remade Under the Red Hood, but I guess added more scenes from the comic book and added this like choose your own adventure fucking story options, which I don't know, it's kind of retarded to me. This story, it's pretty based in red pill. You have the first issue is like Batman and Robin taking out kitty porn makers, trying to ship out some CP in crates. That's where you first see Jason Todd Robin is like kind of impulsive. He's a really aggressive. He's taking too many risks. He's not following Batman's orders. And after that, Batman decides, Jason, you're getting out of control. I gotta take you off active duty. After talking with Alfred. After that, Jason Todd goes out for a walk. He ends up in Crime Alley, where he used to live. Where Crime Alley is also where Batman's parents were killed, if I remember correctly. And he stumbles on an old friend of his family who has some stuff of his, and that's where he finds his old birth certificate and finds out his mom that he thought was his mom wasn't his mom, it was his stepmom, and he has a mom out there, but the name is smudged. You can only see an S, and there's only three women with the name first name that started with an S, and his dad's old phone book or black book, whatever you call it. And they're all in the Middle East, and the Middle East in the 80s was kind of a fucking dangerous place. So he goes off to the Middle East to find his real mom. There's like 3 women. One's an Israeli agent. Another one's a mercenary, and the last one is the shady doctor who's an abortionist, who's an old acquaintance of the Joker, which plays on in the final issue. while this is going on, Batman finds out that Jason Todd's run away, but he can't deal with that now. He has to go after Joker, who's broke after his last run-in with Batman. This book takes place after the events of Batman killing Joke, which in my last take, I went over how retarded it is for this book to take place after after the Killing Joke, because the Killing Joke is supposed to be a standalone story. It's not only is it like one of the best Batman stories, which has Brian Bolland's art, which is artist who's worked on Judge Dredd, who's a fantastic artist. It's Alan Moore's best fucking book, and it's called The Killing Joke. Spoiler alert, because Batman chokes the fuck out of Joker at the end. But I guess they retcon it so Joker lives at the end of the book, right? They even mentioned Barbara and how pissed off like everybody is over her Joker crippling her. So Joker had all of his shit taken from the police. He's on the run. All he has left is a cruise missile. He takes it to the Middle East to try to sell it to terrorists. So this book is pretty red pill, because not only did you have Batman bust up like a CP ring, but he also fights terrorists in this book, and he teams up with the CIA. Also, he can track down Joker. And then eventually he meets up with Robin again, and then you have basically what happens at the end, issue, was it 3 or 4? I can't remember. Where Joker kills Robin, and gets Joker becomes, after that, Batman's on the quest for revenge. He wants to kill Joker, but he can't kill Joker because Joker becomes the newly appointed ambassador of the Iranian government, where you have, even though Superman knows that Jason Todd was murdered by Joker, still has to step in and try to rein in Batman. You have this final confrontation with Batman and Joker on a helicopter, where Joker's henchman accidentally lets off his AK into this small helicopter, wounding Joker, killing the pilot. Batman flies out, and the helicopter crashes. And you would think that would kill Joker, but no. But everybody thinks he's dead. That to me was a cop-out, because Batman was going to kill Joker, and that was basically you had the writers intervening to save Joker by making him think that he was dead, and even though Batman knows that Joker is not dead, but whatever. That's one of my complaints for this story. I have a few complaints. One, even if you didn't buy this book knowing that Robin was gonna die at the end, it's very telegraphed through the whole story. Batman has this unease, this anxiety throughout the book that something's gonna happen with Jason, and obviously it does, which I didn't like. That I didn't like the whole thing with the whole them making Killing Joke canon, even though obviously Joker is supposed to be dead at the end of Killing Joke, which even Grant Morrison says that in a podcast on Kevin Smith's podcast, which he was on. I don't know. Kevin Smith has a Batman podcast. I haven't listened to fucking Kevin Smith's podcast since I was a teenager. back in like the aughts. I don't know. Kevin Smith has become like a shill for like Warner Brothers. So, and I forgot to mention the art. Though I thought the art was good, I thought that Bruce Wayne and Jason Todd looked too similar. So there were points where like I couldn't tell, hey, is this Jason is this Batman? And they made Bruce Wayne like look too much like Clark Kent Superman, to the point where like Superman shows up and it looks exactly like fucking Bruce Wayne. It's just that uh, while like Batman's hair is like parted to the combed over to the left or his right, uh, Clark Kent has a curl, but it's a very minute difference, so you can barely tell them apart. Their face looks exactly the same, which that kind of bothers me. Overall, I would say if I had to give this a rating, it's a 7.5 out of 10. I would have given it an 8, but I don't know. Old comics have like kind of cringy dialogue, honestly. Batman calls the shooters in this book gun cells, which is I never heard that term before reading this book. You have some slight Middle Eastern Arab racism. They call every Arab in this book Abdul. That's mostly not the writers, just the characters. And even Joker does it even after he gets hired by the Iranian government, which I thought was fun. But whatever. The second story, I wasn't a huge fan of it, but because like Marv Wolfman, I would say he's a good writer, but he's a little lefty leaning. So there's some leftist shit over here. I didn't like, you have all these people like trying to tell Batman what to do. Because to me, Batman is a character who's better off when he's by himself and not playing at superhero, because like honestly Batman is supposed to be this vigilante, kind of like the Shadow. He's supposed to be this character that people aren't supposed to know that he's a guy in a costume. He's supposed to be like this supernatural figure, and only you, the reader, is supposed to know it's a guy in a suit. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, read the original Bill Finger, Bob Kane comic books, or read Frank Miller's Batman Year One. Yeah, Batman only works if people think he's like a supernatural figure, right? But I don't know, when he's with Batman and Robin, when he's doing the whole Batman and Robin thing, it's obvious it's a guy in a costume. They're people in costumes, and they have the goofy cars and gadgets and shit. I still like this book. It's a must own if you're a Batman fan, even though like the second story to me isn't as good. It's still worth reading. The whole thing with Two-Face being manipulated by Joker from the hospital, I thought that was cool. The whole issue where like Dick Grayson is reminiscing at the circus that he used to work out, I thought that was cool. And yeah, and George Pérez artwork is pretty cool. I really miss the old Nightwing costume. It kind of sucks like even in movies where they're like adapting Teen Titans, they get rid of the fucking costume. So I don't know. I would say this is good. If you're a Batman fan, this is a must own. You have to have it in your collection. Just like you need to have Killing Joke or Long Halloween. Though I personally don't like Long Halloween, but that could just be because I hate Tim Sale's art. Alright, tomorrow I'll be reviewing Tokyo Ghoul. And I'm going to review Spider Force, which is a South Korean horror movie. Alright, peace.